Sorry?
Rahway.
Rahway.
It's near Elizabeth.
Near Elizabeth. Nice.
Great.
Okay,
Nice. What brings you out here, Carol?
Visiting?
Beautiful. Where do you know each other from?
Gosh, 50 years ago we figured out from, in our youth. Friends.
Nice. Yeah. Always something special about old friends. Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's family.
Yeah. Old friends, they knew, my old friends, they knew my parents. It's a whole different connection
Yeah.
that we
They know
have.
your whole life.
Yeah. Okay. So, Bahalotcha is this week's Parsha, page 774, 775. We're starting off with the lighting of the menorah, and we focused on that in the past. We're not going to focus on that. Let's do this. Let's look at the English. Miri, histadart?
טוב, כן.
בסוף הסתדרת, כן?
כן.
הוא התקשר?
לא התקשר. הבעל שלי בא, my husband came and
Disassembled.
Yeah,
Okay.
disassembled my bike, so.
Okay. Crazy thing.
Sounds interesting,
Okay.
whatever it is.
Let's take a look. Let's follow using the Art Scrolls little paragraph heads. Let's see what we have over here. So on page 775, right? So we're looking at the outside column. The menorah, good. Consecration of the Levites, right? Why are the Levites, why are they being consecrated over here? What's happening over here? The Levites are going to be the ones who are going to be serving in the temple, doing the service in the temple. Why? Who was it taken from? And why was it given to the Levites?
Aaron.
I'm sorry? It wasn't taken from Aaron.
The firstborn.
It was taken from the firstborn. The firstborn were the ones who were supposed to be serving in the temple. Because of the sin of the golden calf, it was taken from them. The tribe of Levi was not involved in that, and it was given to them. So we have the consecration of the Levites. 777, we have ever see what I'm doing over there? I'm just reading these little paragraph heads on the side. Apprenticeship and responsibility. Okay, page 779, the Pesach offering in the wilderness. Oh, wonderful, Pesach Sheni, the second Pesach offering. What was that about? What was the second Pesach offering? Cheryl?
I think that's when people who were not pure,
Good.
then they had to be outside the camp.
Good. People who were not ritually pure were unable to bring the Pesach sacrifice. They approached Moshe, and their attitude was not, hey, I got a freebie, right? Hey, I'm off this week. And I remember when I was teaching in high school, the non-Jewish teachers, oh, did they love these Jewish holidays? Right? Like smack in the middle of who knows when, I'm off for a week. This is great. Right? I don't have to do a thing. Right? So their attitude wasn't, hey, it's a freebie. Their attitude was, we also want to serve Hashem. We also want to serve God. Not an attitude of what I have to do, but an attitude of, hey, my heart's beating really nicely. Wow, I appreciate that, right? Pokeach Ivrim, the blessing that's said every morning. He opens the eyes of the blind. I woke up this morning and I can see. I was able to sit up. I was able to stand up. I was able to walk. I have clothing to put on. These are all morning blessings on a daily basis to appreciate what we have. So the avoda, the mitzvot, the service is not meant to be, oh, this is what I got to do, all right? But it's a privilege. If someone is constantly giving to you, then what you want to do is somehow reciprocate. To what degree can I reciprocate? I still catch myself that normally I daven, the evening prayers, mincha, marav, every night over here. But if let's say I was at a wedding, I was at a wedding Sunday night, so I said to Natalie, "Oh, I have to daven Mariv. Right? Remind me that I have to daven Mariv." And then I catch myself. It's not that I have to daven Mariv. Right? It's not that I have to. It's that it's an opportunity. That I want to. I want to. Not that I have to. So Pesach Sheni really showed us the attitude that we're supposed to have, that we need to have. And they approached Moshe and they said, right, why should we, lama nigara? Why should we, what's nigara? Why should we be diminished without bringing this? And Moshe spoke to God and was told about the idea of Pesach Sheni, those who cannot do it on time, so they'll do it while they'll bring the Pesach sacrifice, the Passover sacrifice, 1 month later. 781, divine signs of the Israelites' travels. Okay? What are those divine signs of the Israelites' travels? What does that refer to? The clouds. Right? So we are traveling all around in the midbar there. We know it's time to go. Right? Let's take a look at these verses over here. Let's take a little break in our Parsha tour over here, and let's look at Revi'i, right? The paragraph break on page 780, first in Hebrew, pasuk Tetvav. Yafi, we welcome you back, and bechavod, please do some reading for us.
וביום הקים את המשכן, כיסה הענן את המשכן לאוהל העדות, ובערב יהיה על המשכן כמראה אש עד בוקר. כן יהיה תמיד הענן יחסנו ומראה אש לילה. ולפי העלות הענן מעל האוהל, ואחרי כן ייסעו בני ישראל, ובמקום אשר ישכן שם הענן, שם יחנו בני ישראל. על פי השם ייסעו בני ישראל, ועל פי השם יחנו, כל ימי אשר ישכון הענן על המשכן יחנו. ובעריך הענן על המשכן ימים רבים, ושמרו בני ישראל את משמרת השם ולא ייסעו.
Good. Someone take that. It's a long string for us in English. Someone take that for us from verse 15. Linda.
On the day of the tabernacle was set up. The cloud covered the tabernacle. That was a tent for the testimony. And in the evening there would be upon the tabernacle like a fiery appearance until morning. So it would always be. The cloud would cover it, and an appearance of fire at night. And whenever the cloud was lifted from atop the tent, afterwards the children of Israel would journey. And in the place where the cloud would rest, there the children of Israel would encamp. According to the word of Hashem would the children of Israel journey, and according to the word of Hashem would they encamp. All the days that the cloud would rest upon the tabernacle, they would encamp. When the cloud lingered upon the tabernacle many days, the children of Israel would maintain the charge of Hashem and would not journey. Sometimes the cloud would be upon the tabernacle for a number of days. According to the word of Hashem would they encamp, and according to the word of Hashem would they journey.
And that seems to be almost like a mantra. Al pi Hashem yisu, al pi Hashem yachanu. Right? Based on Hashem, they would travel. Based on Hashem, they would camp. Continue. And sometimes
the cloud would remain from evening until morning, and the cloud would be lifted in the morning, and they would journey for a day and a night, and the cloud would be lifted, and they would journey, or 2 days, or a month, or a year. And the cloud would linger over the tabernacle, resting upon it. The children of Israel would encamp and would not journey, and when it was lifted, they would journey. According to the word of Hashem would they encamp, and according to the word of Hashem would they journey.
that's the mantra, right? Al pi Hashem yachanu, al pi Hashem yisu.
The charge of Hashem would they safeguard, according to the word of Hashem through Moses.
So what's going on over here? Right? We are, moving around. It could be, I think Ramban says, we come to a beautiful place, and we say, here's a nice place to settle. They come to Irvine. Wow, this is great. Right? But the next night, Right, next morning, the cloud's moving. Okay, kids, pack up. We know what's like traveling with kids, right? Got to pack up. We got to hit the road, right? Come to a place that it's, yeah. And all of a sudden, we're waiting for the cloud to go, and it's staying and staying. It's a day, it's a week, it's a month, right? Al pi Hashem yisu, v'al pi Hashem yachanu, v'al pi Hashem yisau. What was this teaching us? What was it teaching them? And what does it teach us about our lives? What was it teaching them? Why was God doing this to them?
His will is what they should follow, and it's stronger.
Okay? His will is what they should follow, and it's stronger than their will.
Learn to not do impulsive things.
Okay.
What about trust?
Okay, not to be impulsive. Trust, Ilana. Good. Linda?
I was just going to say, what looks good to them as a nice place to stay is not necessarily.
Okay. Your perception of what's best. A famous line. Be careful what you pray for. You might actually get it. Right? One of my favorite stories. The person who's an intern in a psychiatric hospital, and he's making his rounds with one of the senior doctors. He goes into a room, and the person there is crying out, "Sarah, Sarah, Sarah." Goes aside, what's with him? Oh, he wanted to marry Sarah, never got over it. Go to the next room, the guy's sitting there, Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. What's with him? He also wanted to marry Sarah, never got over it. Goes into the third room, Sarah, Sarah. What's with him? He married Sarah. Right? You never know, right? You never know. You never know what, we think we know what's best for us, right? And we take it to an extreme example, a person who has an addiction. They're craving that. They can't live without that, right? But it's destroying them. I mean, that's a very extreme example. But so many of the things that we think are best for us are not best for us. So there's this aspect of the trust, right? Of recognizing that I'm not in control, and my vision, my perception is often skewed. Karen, you want to say something before?
No, that's what I was going to say. Your life is not in your control.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to, control their lives every day.
Yeah. And, yeah. Yes, Dove.
I was going to also say that Hashem said, wherever I put you, you're going to use the tools that are there in unison. You're going to work together.
Okay. Yeah, so, and for us also, right, in our lives, right, this is not where I want it to be. This is not what I planned. Okay. But this is where God has placed you. There was a time, Natalie and I were very unsure where we were heading, and we kind of said to each other, okay, let's put on our seatbelts, and let's see where God's taking us. A common line is that a person isn't lost. A person might not be where they thought they were going to be, but they're not lost. And there is a famous story that Rabbi Pesach Krohn, in his classic books, he has the stories of the Maggid and the reflection of the Maggid about a certain rabbi who was traveling, right? And this is well before 9/11 and all the security controls that have been placed into air travel. And he was traveling, and the plane was making a number of stops, and he overslept and missed the stop he was supposed to get off. Now with security, this can never happen, right? And he ended up, for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, for the high holidays, he was off in some, I forgot exactly where it was. And he gets off the plane there, right? And he finds out is there a Jewish neighborhood. He goes there, and there was one Jewish neighborhood there. It wasn't, nearly as observant as he was accustomed to, right? But they took him in very, very gracefully, and then they saw his discomfort. They actually put in a mechitza to separate, right? And he spent the Yom Tov there. And he's thinking like, Hashem, I was supposed to be home with my family. Like, why have you put me in this place? But he had such a profound influence on two teenage boys, brothers, who were living there, that changed the course of their life, of their family's life, and of the whole neighborhood's life. Because of that visit that he was there. Right? You never know why you are placed somewhere. But there's a reason. There's a reason why we are where we are. And Rav writes very beautifully, right, that this is talking mostly about the physical conditions, the material conditions of each place. But he says also the spiritual conditions. If you find yourself in a situation which is very challenging spiritually, realize that this is there for you to flex your muscles. This is there for you to show what you can do. We're constantly faced with challenges. We're constantly placed in different situations, and we're there for a reason. Al pi Hashem yachanu, al pi Hashem yisau. Based on Hashem, we would camp. Based on Hashem, we would travel. Actually, this is brought out in another way, right? When Moshe is by the burning bush, right? So Hashem tells him, right, the place that you are standing is Admat Kodesh, is holy ground. Take off your shoes, the place you're standing is holy ground. Where was he standing actually? Where did this take place? Mount Sinai. Right? The burning bush was a foretelling of another area that would be burning on fire and not consumed. It wouldn't just be Moshe there, then it would be the entire nation at Mount Sinai. But the Bali Musar say, the ethicists say, that the place that you're standing is holy. All right, that's a message to us. All right, very often I say, if I had this person's life, if I had that person's life, or if I had this person's temperament or that person's temperament, the place where you are standing is holy. Meaning the place where you are standing is the place where you have the opportunity for growth, for development. To go, as I always say, from point A to point B. And where you are standing, that is point A. And say, what can I do with this? What can I do with this situation? Right? And Bnei Yisrael are accepting this beautifully. They understand. Al pi Hashem yachanu, al pi Hashem yisau. Let's continue now with our little tour on page 783. We have the trumpets. That's how they would summon either the whole assembly, right, or just the leaders, right? There's a whole system worked out. And then we have the order of breaking of camp. When it's time to go, this is how they would do it, right? And then we have on page 785, Moses invites Jethro, Yitro, as his father-in-law to join the nation. And then on page 787, right, the first journey, right, they journeyed from Mountain of Hashem, Mehar Hashem, from Har Sinai, a 3-day distance, and the Ark of the Covenant, Hashem journeyed before them a 3-day distance to search out for them a resting place. The cloud of Hashem was over them by day when they journeyed from the camp. Then look over into the Hebrew on page 786. And you see something very, very strange there. We have our paragraph breaks, which you often have in the Torah, right? There are paragraph breaks in the Torah. And we have these upside down nuns. In the Torah itself, there's the only place in the entire Torah where, along with a little paragraph break, which we have, I think I saw yesterday, 669 such paragraph breaks in the Torah. But over here, all of a sudden we have these upside down nuns. And we have two verses inside these two upside down nuns. And there are those that understand that instead of there being 5 books of the Torah, there are 7 books of the Torah. What are the 7 books of the Torah? Well, we have Bereshit, right? Genesis, Shmot, Exodus, Vayikra, Leviticus, Torah Kohanim. We have Bamidbar up until this first Nun. We have these 2 psukim as number 5. We have Bamidbar from chapter 11 and on till the end is number 6. And then Devarim is 7. Deuteronomy is 7. Meaning, Bamidbar is divided not as 1 book, but 3 books. Up until these 2 verses, and then from there on. Because what happens, and these 2 verses seem to be beautiful. Vayhi ben Soah Aaron sounds familiar. This is what we say every time we take out the Torah. Vayhi ben Soah Aaron, when the ark would journey, Vayomer Moshe, and Moses said, Kuma Hashem, arise Hashem, v'yafutzu oivecha, let your enemies be scattered. V'yanusu misanecha mipanecha, those who hate you should flee from before you. We sing this, we say this, we sing this every time we open the ark to take out the Torah for Torah reading. And when we put the Torah back, uvenucho yomar, and when it rested, when the ark would rest, he would say, Shuva Hashem, Rivavot Alfei Yisroel. Reside tranquilly, O Hashem, among the myriad thousands of Israel. Up until this point, everything is going keseder. Keseder in an organized, proper manner, right? We have the Seder of Pesach. Seder means that order, right? What happens next? Perek Yud Aleph, Vayehi ha'am ki mitonanim ra ba'aznei Hashem. And the people were, mitonen is complaining. Ki mitonanim, ki means like. The people were like complaining. Ra ba'aznei Hashem. Right? Evil in the ears of Hashem. Vayishma Hashem, and Hashem heard. Vayichar apo, and his wrath flared. Vativar bam eish Hashem vatochal b'ktzei hamachaneh. This fire burned, consumed some of the machaneh. How do we understand kimit onanim? I'm complaining or I'm not complaining? What's it like complaining? What would we say that they were kimit onanim, like they were complaining?
Maybe it was like peer pressure, like they were just doing what everyone else was doing, but it wasn't deep.
I think of my kids when they were small, or the grandkids, like, what's wrong?
I was thinking more like whining.
Whining.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? You know, what's wrong? I don't know. Right? In other words, that I want to be unhappy. Or I want to present myself as being unhappy to you. I'm not quite sure exactly what I will attach this to. What is the reason that what it is I'm complaining about, but I'm kimitonim. It's like I have something to complain about. Right? I'm trying to find something. Right? I'm going to complain about exactly what. Don't bother me with the details. Right? That's not really the issue here. Right? Now, interesting. Mitonen. What is kimitonenim? Right? So, what is the root? The three, right? Most Hebrew words have a 3-letter shoresh, a 3-letter root. Which 3 letters are the root of that word?
Onan.
Onen. Yeah, Aleph, Nun, Nun. Right? Ke, like, mit makes it makes it present tense. Yud mem at the end makes it plural. But the root, the shoresh over there is Aleph, Nun, Nun. Who is an onen? In modern halacha, in modern Jewish law, we have a concept of an onen. When is a person an onen? Right, a person is an onen, well, after the death of one of the 7 close relatives for whom a person mourns, until the burial. After the burial, the person is an avel. Right, we call it, right, that's what we normally refer to as a mourner. Right? Yeah, interesting. Avel is the same word as Aleph Vet Lamed as aval, but. Right? It's as if during that time of an avel, a person is trying to work through. But what else? But. Right? I mean, did it have to be like this? Right? Where is my life now heading? How? Right? There's a lot of unanswered questions that a person deals with during the Avel period, which is also the Aval period. But Onen is until then. So the person is mourning. Right? There's something that has been lost. Hashem heard. And then, Pasuk Beth, Vayitzak Hama Moshe, the people cried to Moshe, Moshe prayed, and the fire subsided. And then, Pasuk Dalid, V'ha'asaf suf asher b'kir bo, the rabble that was amongst them, hitavu ta'ava. Interesting. Hitavu ta'ava. Ta'ava is a desire, a craving. What's hitavu ta'ava? It's like they craved a craving, but right, the way the English puts it is very nice. They cultivated a craving, right? It's as if they wanted to make this craving. So they're like complaining. They want to complain. They want to crave. And they came back and they started crying, right? And then Gam Bnei Yisrael, also Bnei Yisrael started crying. So who's this rabble? Right? There's the rabble, and then also the children of Israel started. Right? Asaf Suf comes from the word of La'asov, those who gathered into them. Who were these gatherers? Who was this Asaf Suf?
The Erev Rav.
The Erev Rav. Who are the Erev Rav? Egyptians who connected themselves to the children of Israel, rejected idolatry, and then ended up leaving Egypt with us. Incredible, right? Dov, do you have a sitter nearby over there? On one of the seats over there? Thank you, Dov. Now, these Asufs, they were amazing. They were born and bred Egyptians, part of the Egyptian society, Egyptian educational system, Egyptian culture, and they rejected all of that, and they joined the Jewish people. Incredible. Yet what happened over here? Right? That's perfect. Thank you, Dov. What happened is something that often we struggle with. Right? It's easy, not easy, it's relatively easy to get started. But to go the distance, to finish, that is often the real challenge that we have. We say a mitzvah is called al shem gomra. It's called by the name of the person who finishes it. Right? Famous Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers. This is chapter 5, Mishnah Chav Gimel. Yehuda ben Tema Omer. Yehuda, the son of Tema, said, Have az kanamer. Be bold as a leopard. Kal kanesher. Light as an eagle. Ratz katzvi. Run as fast as a deer. Gibor ka'ari. And as strong, powerful as a lion. La'asot ritzon avicha shebashamayim. To do the will of your Father in heaven. Right? Somewhat famous Mishnah, and actually this is quoted in the very start of Shulchan Aruch, of the Code of Jewish Law, how we're supposed to wake up in the morning. But Rav Volbe very beautifully says that this is 4 very distinct stages in all of the things that we try to accomplish in life. Havi az kanamer. Be bold as a leopard. Bold meaning have that courage to start something. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this on. I'm going to implement this. I'm going to try to make this change in my life. I'm going to try to do this. That takes a boldness. Very simple to say, I'm just going to keep on. But once you make that decision, what do you have to do? What term do we use? You've got to get it off the ground. Right? Sometimes we decide to do it, but we don't actually do it. You have to be kal kanesher, light as an eagle. Right? Meaning what? The eagle gets it off the ground. Get it started. Then we get a little bit lethargic. We've started it, but we lose that initial excitement drive. Ratz kitzvi. We also say, right? You've got to take this and you have to, what do we say? Run with it. Right? You have to get it off the ground. Right? That's the eagle. You got to run with it. That's the deer. But then, after a while, right? It's so hard to finish it. That takes gibor ka'ari. That's where it takes the strength, the fortitude, that I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to see it through. That is, it's very interesting. We have a fairly large group that comes to the conversion class, right? A fairly large group we have now of people who are converting. And the Batei Din, right? They're not trying to measure how sincere is a person. Because how do you actually measure sincerity? Right? What they want to measure is this something that, according to the way, from what they see, from what they hear from me, the sponsoring rabbi, from what they see from their talks, is this something that's going to last? Is this a flare of excitement? Or is this something that's going to be, right? The Az Kanamer, they made the decision, and they're taking it off, they're flying with it, they've gotten it off the ground. But is this something that's going to last through the person's life? And therefore they want the person to be involved, right, in a Jewish community, right? Not I'll drive in before every Shabbos and I'll spend Shabbos by this place or that place. That's not so sustainable, right? Have you moved within the Erev? Is it sustainable? Right? Have you gone through the whole year of all the holidays? So it's like, I didn't know about that. Right? No, you've gone through all the cycles. Right? The Gibor Ka'ari. So here we have these amazing, amazing people, this Erev Rav, but at a certain point, they ran out of gas. And hitavu ta'ava. Right? And then Israel also starts to cry. And they say, Mi yachilenu basar. Oh, who will give us some good meat to eat? Zacharnu et hadaga. We remember the daga. We remember the fish that we ate in Egypt. Chinam. Free. Right? It all depends how you look at something. Right? A slave doesn't have to pay for his food. Right? Right? But he's a slave. He doesn't have anything there. We remember the kishuim, avatichim, chatzir, bitzalim, shumim. We remember all of these very earthly foods. V'atan hasheni yivesha ain't called, but now we're all dried out. Bilti el haman einenu. All we've got is man. Right? That's all we have. Right? Monty Python had a skit with spam, 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 spam. All you get to eat is spam. Or what was the guy? What was that movie? The lobster this and oyster this. No. Run. Help me out. Run, so and so. Run. Forrest Gump. Right? So right, so we have the oyster place or the
Shrimp.
Sorry?
I think it was Bubba Gump shrimp.
Yeah, the shrimp. This shrimp and that shrimp and that shrimp. Right? So all we had was what? The shrimp, right. All we had is the man. And the pasuk says, verse 7, now the man was like a coriander seed, his coat was like the color of the bedolet. People would stroll and gather it. It was food from the heavens. What is it that we were owning, we were mourning? What was it that we were mourning? And keep in mind what we said before about the travels in the Midbar. What were we mourning over here? What were we commit onanim, like complaining? We were mitaveh ta'aveh. We were desiring a desire. We were looking. What is it that was really at the root? What is it that we wanted that we felt we didn't have?
Is it material comfort? Or?
Well, the man was really giving them, right? I mean, great food. Falling down. I don't have to stop off at Wholesome Choice on the way home from Shul and bump into Miri over there. Right? Right? It's just, you don't have to plant, you don't have to harvest. It's all there for you.
It's a distortion of nostalgia, because it seems like they're nostalgic for something that really never existed.
So clearly, right, we always look back, right, on the good old days, right, and actually weren't quite as good, right? I think someone once said, was talking about, our prowess as athletes when we were younger. And we say, the older we get, the better we were. The older we get, the better. When I was a teenager, the older we get, the better we were. So there's always this nostalgia of how good it was. What's that? The song, I think Neil Simon's song, right? Kodachrome. Everything looks better in black and white, right? You're looking back, right? It was always that much better. There is this nostalgia, but what is it that they are missing? You're right, they're waxing nostalgia, but what is it, Carol?
Could it be a permanent home?
Okay, a permanent home.
Yeah, now they're going from.
Okay, I think that's an aspect of it.
Like stability of
Stability.
being tired from.
Okay, okay. So let's examine that. Let's examine that. Stability. What were they eating on a daily basis? Man, right? But it fell every day. Right? Could you save any from today till tomorrow? No. Right? On Friday, a double portion falls, takes you through Shabbos. But come Sunday morning, right? Isn't that stability of sort? Right? There's stability, but what am I lacking? Work. What did you say, Linda? Choice. Creativity. Owning. Control.
Oh, that.
What I'm missing is control. It's going to fall tomorrow morning, but what control do I want to know. I've got food in my fridge when I go to sleep at night. So that when I wake up in the morning, I want to know I've got money in my account. I want to know that I've got the keys to my door and the keys to my car. I want to have a certain degree of control. We all want that. And over here, we were completely surrendering any control that we had to God. God is driving. Where do I live? Where do I camp? Wherever God says I should camp. I want to stay. Clouds moving, pack up, and I go. So on one hand, before those two verses, in the first of the three parts, right? We have the first, middle, and last. In the first half of Bamidbar, Al pi Hashem yachanu, Al pi Hashem yiso. On one hand, I can view that as the most liberating aspect, way of living. Incredible. God is taking me wherever I need to be. Wow. But in the latter half of Bamidbar, I want to make my own decisions. Right? You know, what does every teenager tell their parents? Right? I know you're saying this is good for me, that's not, you know, this is a good choice of school, it's not a good choice of school. You made your decisions. You set out the course of your life. I want to make my decisions. Right? The whole thing of teenage, right? It's that want for independence. Right? I want to be my own person. I want to make my own decisions. I want to be in control of my destiny. And if I make a wrong choice, if it was my choice, I'll live with that. If I made a wrong choice because it was your choice, I can't live with that. I don't want to live with that. This was the struggle that they had. Kimit onanim, they were like complaining. Right? There was nothing to complain about because everything was being served to them royally. But they were kimit onanim because they were complaining because everything was served to them royally. And back in Egypt, at least we felt that we were somewhat in control. Their mitonain, their mourning, their loss of control. Their mitavet tava, we want to create a tava. Yes?
What control do you have as a slave? I mean, really? So it's only a transference.
Yes and no.
But.
Yes and no.
But that's what I don't
right?
understand.
as a slave, there could be some illusion of control or of at least emancipation at some point, and there's potential control.
When you think
Over
about
here with God, there's no escaping. If I'm feeling I'm being caged in by God, then there's no escape. Right? And it's fascinating. Look what they do. The man was bread from heaven. Look at verse number 8. What would they do with the man? The people would stroll. Page 789, verse 8. They would stroll and gather it and grind it in a mill or pound it in a mortar and cook it in a pot or make it into cakes. What are they desperately trying to do?
make it like fish.
Control it. Right? I'll make it my way. Right? I can grind it, I could pound it, I could bake it, I could cook it, I could fry it. I want to have it my way.